Welcome to this Windows Computer and Technology channel. And one of the discussions that we've had a lot in the last year, and particularly I think since Windows 11, and of course to a lesser extent maybe with its way of treating Microsoft Edge browser and so on. And of course, it has to do with the fact that a lot of people are like, well, we need more antitrust. We need more verifications. Microsoft is a monopoly, and it does what it wants. And that's where the question is Microsoft a monopoly? Is it really dominant to a point where it needs to be regulated again? I mean, it went through that phase a long time ago in the late 90s into the early 2000s with the Internet Explorer browser and its practices that were kind of bad. Today, what do we think of the monopoly Microsoft has? Is it really a monopoly? Back in 1990s basically, with Windows, when it became dominant, like Windows 95. You know what? Back then, what we mostly had was a dominance of Windows, and a big dominance of Windows, more than 90% of everything running it. And then you had Macs. And even though Linux did exist, there was still really, it wasn't something we were talking about, really. Compared to today where, there are more people talking about Linux and Linux distros and so on. There are things that have changed today. Today we have Windows, but we have Macs. They're still there. They could have disappeared because in the late 90s, it was very close. Apple was very close to going bankrupt and kind of disappearing. And what happened is that thanks to a simple little thing that Microsoft did with Internet Explorer back then, and how they kind of gave money to Apple for incorporating some Office products and some and the Internet Explorer browser, it kind of helped Apple come back. Today is a different situation. Windows is there. It's dominant in the desktop place, but it's not dominant in the world anymore because there are far more devices running Android than are computers running Windows, something that did not exist back in 1990s. You now have a multitude of ways of having devices that run different things. And up to some extent, you don't have to run Windows on a PC. You can run a Linux distro and have your computer run something else. So the dominance of Microsoft, even though it is still there because Windows is still a big part of what people do with PCs, is not as solid as it was. Now, Microsoft does play hard and is actually doing things that are not necessarily very good. They're giving them a good image. One of them is the very arbitrary minimum requirements that they decided for Windows 11, for example, that blocks a lot of people from moving on. That still means you still have Windows 10 and you can run Windows 10 until 2025. So, you still have a choice, but for now. Like I said, there are still other options, and people are moving to other options because Windows dominance is not above 90% anymore. Windows dominance is like about 70%, 75, 76% right now. It's not as dominant when you compare it to everything else that's available, although it is still a big chunk of everything. Where it dominates, the Edge browser isn't dominating. It's 9 point some percent. Google Chrome is dominating. Google is dominating in everything. That's much more close to a monopoly with Google than Microsoft is. So there are things that are making things different today, even though Microsoft pushes its own products and services a lot. in ways that, shouldn't be. Like at Windows 11, that famous setting that was missing for a long time, making it not impossible, but kind of hard to go and have a default app as a browser. Shouldn't be that difficult, honestly. It is technically kind of showing that they're not playing nice. It's kind of fixed halfway right now with the set default button available. But you know what? Microsoft should be just kind of checked from time to time to make sure it doesn't go too far. But it definitely isn't the big dominance that it used to be, and what made actually the antitrust case back in the 90s. Even though, it can drive a lot of people mad. So anyways, if you want to do the discussion of this and what you think of Microsoft and are they a monopoly or not, in a very polite way, please, because I will remove any comment that's not polite. So, don't waste your time writing something that's not, because it won't actually show up. Just be polite and explain it well, and, not just saying, yeah, it's a monopoly. That doesn't explain anything. Do explain yourself. And what, you think should be done about it. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.